Hi everyone, my name is Felicia and today I want to talk to you guys about an awesome group at Launch School called The Spot. I'm really excited today to talk about the Spot group because I feel that besides the Women Who Code group at Launch School, this group has such a huge and positive impact on the students who are preparing for assessments. The main goal of the Spot group is to help students progress and succeed through the core curriculum, and it's a great place for students to come and practice their skills with other students. So SPOT stands for Study, Practice, Overlearn, and Teach. And it's a group that was actually made by students for students. And before it was even called the SPOT, it was actually a really small group of people. I think maybe about 4 or 5 people when it first started. And it was actually at the time called the Study Dream Team. I remember I was preparing for an assessment. I can't really remember which one it was. And I was introduced to a student. His name was Rodney. And he was part of the Study Dream Team, and he was actually one of the founders. And him and a group of other students just came together consistently every week or so around the same time, and they would all together practice the concepts they had learned and were preparing for the assessments. I was introduced to him because I was needing more practice with other students, and I think that we were preparing for the same test at the time, and he said that I could join the group. Eventually, more and more people were being added to the Study Dream Team, just as I was, and it somehow morphed into this large, very structured, student-led organization in itself that it is today. And it's really awesome to see how it went from the little study group that I was a part of to what it is now. Okay, so let's go into what actually happens at SPOT. There are weekly study sessions, events that happen every few weeks or months, and bi-weekly student shoutouts. Every week, a series of posts are made, and these posts are broken down into each individual course, starting from the first one, Ruby or JavaScript 109, all the way up into the last course in the core curriculum. In these posts are linked calendars, so the student can go into these calendars and put in their availabilities, which days and times of the week that they're available for a study session. Eventually, any student can volunteer to be a lead for that group if they're in a course ahead of the one that they're volunteering for. And this lead can then decide, when they're looking at everyone's availabilities, which day and time to set for the study session. Not every time it works out perfectly. Sometimes there's just days and times that doesn't work for everybody, but the lead can then try to figure out and accommodate everyone. Sometimes they'll say, okay, we can have a study session on this day at this time for these students, and then on this day, we can do this time for these students and break it up that way so that everyone has a chance to participate and be a part of a study session. Sometimes too, another thing that happens when a lead is not available for a certain study session for a course at Launch School is that the students who have already put in their availabilities will meet with each other and say, hey, there's no lead for this group. Why don't we come together and just practice on our own? That's actually happened to me right now as I'm preparing for the interview. There was no lead for course LS 216. So me and the other person who put in their availability said, hey, let's come together and meet this week to practice. So it's just another good way for you to meet other people who are in the same course as you and to make new friends. This is a very great and consistent way for students to be able to practice in a group setting for the assessment that they're preparing for, in addition to the TA-led study sessions that are available for Launch School. In addition to the study sessions, there's actually several events that occur every few weeks or every few months that I'm really excited to talk about because I joined a few of these events and they're so much fun. These events are amazing because they're totally created by the students who are leads for the SPOT group, and they put in so much time and effort to create these awesome events that all students can come and join. For example, a few weeks ago, I attended an algorithm clinic, and it was the first type of event like that for the SPOT group. So in this algorithm clinic, you are paired with another student, and it doesn't matter which track you're on. You could be a Ruby student paired up with a JavaScript student, and essentially you're both given a problem, and the only thing you have to do is write an algorithm that can be coded up to solve this problem. So after everyone writes their algorithms, you swap algorithms, and you're supposed to code the solution to that problem using that other person's algorithm. I had so much fun doing this, and I had never really experienced anything like this. I had never been given the chance to code a solution to a problem using someone else's algorithm. I guess sometimes it becomes more of a personal thing. We write PDAC for problems. on our own most of the time, unless we're in an interview setting and we just think it's for us to read. And it really is. The algorithm is written for us to figure out how to code a solution. But then being in this situation where you have to write an algorithm knowing that someone else is going to read it and code it, it puts things into perspective. It was eye-opening for me because it allowed me to see that the way I write my algorithms might not be as clear or detailed as I think it is. And sometimes it might not even make any sense. So I had to really think hard and try to be very explicit about each step of the way what I wanted to do. Clear enough so that the other person could look at it and understand it. I feel that it was really good practice because when we get to our careers later on, we're going to have to know how to read other people's code. It's good practice to be exposed to various different ways of writing code and maybe even algorithms for solutions to programming problems. And it was cool to see that once you have an algorithm written, it doesn't matter which language you're thinking about for writing the code in. You write the algorithm that details all the steps that you want to do to arrive to a solution, and in the end, you can pick whichever language that you're familiar with to code it in, because it's not written specifically for a certain language. So that's the algorithm clinic. I also recently attended another event that they had called the Escape Game Mars Mission, and this was so much fun. And I'm so excited. I hope that they create another event like this in the future because I will definitely be signing up for it. So basically for the Mars Mission game, we were paired up with other students. Again, it didn't really matter which track we were on. I was paired with 2 other students who were on the JavaScript track. We used GatherTown to meet, which was so cool. It's amazing that the group of students who put this thing together created this whole little world in GatherTown for all the people to come in and hang out. So we had to go around the little map to find clues. So our team would go to certain areas and we would be given a coding challenge. Once we solved the coding challenge, it would give us a clue to go to the next place to find the next coding challenge. And it just kind of went like that until we reached the end. And whoever was the first group to reach the end of the mission won the whole thing. My group came in 3rd place for the people in the later courses. And I'm so proud of my team and how we were able to work together to solve all these coding challenges and make it to the end. It was amazing to me that me and my teammates had never met before, and we were all able to solve these coding problems in a matter of just a few minutes, and how much fun we had running through the little map trying to get to the next place. That was so much fun. I was really amazed at how differently people can write code and how differently people can write algorithms. Again, just like the algorithm clinic, we all are very familiar with the PDAP process. We all know how to solve these problems. And it was amazing that we were given instructions and we were told to code these solutions. And it's crazy how it's kind of ingrained in us to write some sort of PDAP before we even write the code. So we had to work out who was going to do what. Sometimes we would just jump straight into the code. Other times I would start writing, bullet points for an algorithm each step of the way. Not as detailed maybe as I would do it if I were in an interview situation, because we were a little pressed for time to try to make it to the end first. But still, it still kind of followed that. We knew what the inputs and outputs were. We still tried to figure out some sort of structure before we got to the code. And other times we just kind of jumped straight into the code. I remember one problem, there was one line of code and I had a method I was working on and my other teammate had one method and my other teammate had the other method. So there's 3 methods and the 3 of us were working on the same line of code, typing away to finish this problem. And it worked out. I was really surprised how seamlessly we could all come together and do this. And it was the first time I had actually coded in kind of like a gaming setting. So it was meant to be fun. It's not like we were stressed out, trying to figure out the solution to these things. It was actually really fun. It was a nice break to not code and work in a serious kind of environment or setting. I've been used the past few weeks and months preparing for an interview and it's been kind of stressful sometimes. So this was a nice, fun break to get out of that. In addition to the weekly study sessions and the events that they have, there's also a weekly Spot shoutout. And this is the place for students to nominate themselves or other people and just basically tell a little bit about their accomplishments and successes that they've had. Everyone's achievements will be put into this very long post, and it's really encouraging to see. I think it's a good way to boost morale and give encouragement and show that we're on this long path to mastery and we're on this journey. And sometimes it could feel like we're not making any progress. So it's cool to see that all these students are passing their assessments and moving on to their courses and just generally making progress in some small way. So if you're part of SPOT and you've passed an assessment or made any little achievement that you want to tell people about, or you know someone that has achieved something, you can submit it for the SPOT shoutout and you'll get to see it when they release the shoutout. I really like the SPOT shoutout. I think it's a great way to celebrate everyone and their accomplishments. Another thing that I think is really great about the SPOT is that it's totally student-led, and that means that the students who are leads or mods eventually will finish core and be moving on to either capstone or some other venture, which means that a spot is open for a new lead or mod. So when that happens, an announcement is made basically saying, hey, we have a spot open. If anyone is interested in becoming a lead or a mod, let us know. So it's a great way if you're interested to volunteer and contribute back to the community by becoming a lead or a mod. All right, and that's it for this one. I hope you liked hearing about the SPOT group. It's really amazing for me to see how much it grew from a small group to what it is today. It's an awesome group to join if you are part of Launch School and you want to be part of a group of people who are consistently studying and practicing in a group setting every single week, and also to join cool events like the Algorithm Clinic and the Mars Mission. And also if you're interested in contributing back to the community to help other students, and also becoming a lead for a study session helps you as a student to solidify all the concepts and information that you've learned in the previous courses. The SPOT is a really awesome group, just like the Women Who Code group. I think these two groups are amazing and have such a huge impact, a positive impact on the students and the community of Launch School. For being an online community, it's really, really easy for the journey to become a lonely one and sometimes a very stressful one. So having such a vibrant and active community, I think, is very important in our education as we're on the journey to becoming software engineers. So if you're at Launch School and you want to join a community, you could join the Women Who Code group, or you could join the SPOT group. The SPOT group is open to everyone at Launch School, and I highly encourage that you join and get involved. If you have any questions about SPOT or anything about Launch School, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.